Okay. All right, guys, it is a beautiful day today, and I'm standing here on the driveway in front of my 2023 Harley-Davidson Road Glide and my 2024 Harley-Davidson Road Glide. And I'm going to tell you, or try to give my opinion on, is it worth upgrading from a 23 to a 24? I'm going to tell you what I like about the 23 more than I like about the 24, and what I like about the 24 more than I like about the 23. So it's going to be a great video today, so hopefully you stick around and watch the entire video. All right, so let's roll the intro and we'll get started. Back down like a mob mule, roads clear, tank full, kick back with my feet up. I twist back and I speed up. Left lane, pipes full, move fast with this got more. Clear skies. Thank you, Lord, I'm gliding. Perfect day for riding. 500 in front of me and I'm right here where I wanna be. It's a beautiful day and I thank God for it all. I'm traveling tall. We about to ride, It's that time of year again. Traveling Tall's Run to the Hills 4. If you missed the first one, the second one, and the third one, do not miss the fourth one. It's going to be bigger and better this year, with rides leaving Friday and Saturday from Bootlegger Harley-Davidson.
Riding Harleys all over the place, that's what we do.
Starting at 9 a.m. each day. Kickstands up at 10:30. Come on out to Bootlegger Harley-Davidson to meet your favorite content creator. There will be vendors and merchandise for sale. The ride is free, but Friday night we're going to be having a banquet with good food, special guests, and giveaways. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified when tickets become available. We have limited seating, and last year they sold out quickly. And to book your stay at the host hotel, make sure you click the link in the description below. You like motorcycles? You like to ride? You like to meet good people? Then this event's for you. Everyone is welcome, but ride responsible and ride at your own risk. June 7th and 8th, 2024, Traveling Tall's Run to the Hills 4. You're invited, and share this post with your friends. I hope to see you there. Keep gliding, and as always, have a blessed day. If it's your first time coming to the channel, my name is Tall, and this is YouTube channel Traveling Tall, and the channel is about motorcycles. You guessed it, mainly Harley-Davidson motorcycles. So if you like motorcycles, test rides, tutorials, product reviews, demonstrations, traveling, performance, then check out all the videos in the channel. There's probably right now over 400 different videos. And subscribe if you like content like that. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when the next content comes out. Also, just a reminder, Traveling Tall's Run to Hills 4 is going on June 7th and 8th. You probably just watched the promo reel for that. The event is free to show up, to ride. The only thing there's a charge for is for the banquet, which I will be giving more details about the banquet tickets in an upcoming video, possibly later on this week. Let's get into the differences between the 2024 Harley-Davidson Road Glide and the 2023 Harley-Davidson Road Glide. We'll start with this motorcycle first. I know it's not stock. I've had this bike for a little over a year now, and I've done a lot of stuff to it. So let me tell you some things that's been done to it. And I know it's not going to be an apples to apples comparison, but it does have a lot to do with what I'm going to be saying about this bike versus that bike. This bike, 23 standard, ABS navigation is the only upgrade, and I think that wasn't even an upgrade anymore. I think navigation and ABS came standard in 23, but somebody will correct me. Black, vivid black motorcycle, and it has upgraded 21-inch Coastal Moto wheels in the front, 18-inch Coastal Moto rear wheel in the rear, Clockworks windshield, Chromeworks bars, volunteer audio all the way around with Hertz in it, 6-speaker setup including the tour pack that has speakers in it as well, subs in this bag, subs in this bag. And recently I just put the short bags back on because we'll get into that. I'll give you my opinion on the stretch bags versus short bags in just a little bit. But the main thing about this motorcycle, it has the Zippers Performance 124 Sport Touring Kit. This motorcycle, I went with my wife cross country, 7,300 miles from Tennessee all the way to California to Seattle and back. Only difference is I put some passenger floorboards on it for her, changed out the seat to another LaPera seat to make it a little bit more comfortable, and put the tour pack on the back. But with it being a 124 making 139 horsepower, 145 foot-pounds of torque out of a 124 that you can travel on pump gas, cross country, two up, and it just ran amazing. That's what's the gist of it. There's a little bit more done to the bike, but that is the gist of what's done to this motorcycle here. Bottom of the line Street Glide. Not special, not ST, definitely not a CVO. Now this one right here is a 2024 Harley-Davidson Road Glide. The black on black. So I chose black and chrome on this one. I chose black with black accents on this one. 2024, there is no Road Glide Special. There is no Road Glide ST. Hold on before you say it. There is no Road Glide ST. There's a Road Glide CVO ST, but not a Road Glide ST. So in 23, you had the standard, you had the special, you had the ST, and you had the CVO. In 24, you have a Road Glide, and you have your choice of chrome, you have a choice on black, and then Harley-Davidson also has these packages that if you want to have a touring package or whatever, you can add on that stuff later on to do all that. It's black on black, and it comes with the 117 motor. Now this motorcycle came with a 107 motor, stock, standard, and I bumped it up to a 124, and this comes with a 117 with different ride modes. No ride modes on this bike. On this motorcycle, I didn't even get the RDRS. But this motorcycle is out of the box. It has ride modes. You have rain, highway, performance, and you even have a custom mode. This 117 would flat out outrun and hide from this 107 when it was stock. A 107 is no match for a 117. 17 of this year in 2023 is still no match for the 117 in 2024. Okay guys, so let's start at the front of these motorcycles. Stock wheel on this motorcycle would have been a 19, the same as the stock wheel size on this motorcycle right here. The difference between a 23 and a 24, the brake rotors on a 23 are smaller than the brake rotors on a 24. Now, not only are they smaller, you see the pattern right here. It's a different pattern. The I guess lug pattern, I don't even know what you'd say. The pattern, the rotor pattern, these right here are a lot closer to the center axle, and this is spread a lot further from the center axle. These are 320s, 320 millimeter. These are not 320s. I don't know the exact millimeter what they are. But my initial thought in the beginning, I was gonna take these wheels off this motorcycle and put it on this. And I still could, but here's the thing. On this, in this configuration, just bolt up to it because the rotors are not the same. And if you look at the brake caliper right here, you see the brake caliper is kicked back a little bit more. That is to compensate for the extra diameter in braking. So if I was to take these wheels off of this motorcycle, I could change it, find a caliper with the same bolt pattern in a 320, bolt them onto that and put them on this. I could do that, but I'm gonna go a different way with it, and you'll see what I'm gonna do. Of course, guys, you know I always make it my own. I'm not gonna leave it stock. Another thing you'll notice, you'll see this is a full fender right here. That's what came on the standard. This has the little chop fender, and this was introduced with the ST, so that's really nice. You have the same look in the front with the cowbell right here, and the blacked out forks. This came with polished aluminum forks. I actually had to have these black forks sent out and powder coated black like that. I got O-lens in this one here, no O-lens in this one yet. Now let's stay with the front for a second. This headlight was not a standard headlight. This is a headlight that I upgraded. It was not LED, still had halogen bulbs in it, which was one of the biggest complaints that people had. At 23, Harley-Davidson still had halogen, but I had to upgrade this headlight to an LED headlight. So there it is. You can check that out. LED. The turn signals were not LED, so I had to take the turn signals, make them LED as well. This headlight right here is absolutely beautiful, and it's integrated with the turn signals. So remember over here, I had to take the turn signals and turn them into LEDs. Well, there's no turn signals down here. Those were called bullet lights. There's no bullet lights on here. The turn signals are integrated right into the fairing. So it's a nice, clean look. Now, I like that look because that's a look that I'm accustomed to. That's what I've seen on Harleys for years. But this look, when I first saw it, I wasn't sure about it, but now it's definitely grown on me. I like how it's integrated into the fairing, how nice and clean it looks. These are the angel wings right here, and they are fully adjustable. If you want to open them up, you can get more air in. You want to close them off, you can send the air around you. You still have your vent right here that allows the air to come in. They have the same thing over there, but if you can see them right here, you probably can't, but these small angel wings, they are on the side of the fairing and they're not adjustable, and they're actually smaller than what's on there now. So the adjustable ones helps when you're trying to get air pulling in. It's just that much, I like it a lot better than the standard ones. Now, do I like the way they look? No, I don't like the way any angel wings look. They work so well that I decided just to leave them on. So right here, the new bike, the difference between the new bike and the old bike, this bike is now liquid cooled. It's an M8, which this is an M8 too, but this is the M8 wet head. So what that means in slang is that the heads are liquid cooled. You have coolant running through the heads when you didn't have coolant running through the heads on this. It was oil cooled. So it was an oil cooled motor. Now, this is what I don't know because I haven't read the owner's manual yet. I like to make these videos before I dive into the owner's manual to talk about more technical stuff. I like to remain somewhat unknowledgeable about the bike because I just want to give you how, you know, my opinion of what I think and how it feels before I get into the technical jargon of it. I don't know if this motorcycle has an oil cooler fan on it. One thing I noticed with this motorcycle right here, it has a Thundermax oil cooler. And when it gets to a certain temperature, you can hear the oil cooler fan. The oil cooler fan cuts on to keep the oil temperature low. A fan right in front of the oil cooler and blows air over the oil cooler. On my other bike, the Street Glide, I have ultra cool oil cooler fan, and that thing is just amazing. I'm gonna tell you that. We'll make a video about that pretty soon. But with this motorcycle right here, having the oil cooler fan, it gets to a certain temperature, you can hear it. Well, when it was stock, it did not have an oil cooler fan. But I noticed after riding this motorcycle, I parked in the garage and was going, and I turned it off. I heard the fan kept running for a little bit before it shut off, just like this one does. The fan will run about 5-10 seconds, then it shut off. And I thought to myself, Harley must have added some kind of fan. Now, I don't know if it's a radiator cooling fan or oil cooler fan, but it definitely has a fan on this motorcycle, and that's pretty cool. And I'm excited that this motorcycle is a liquid cooled motorcycle, because there's times that you don't want to get caught in traffic with an oil cooled motorcycle because it can heat up. You don't, especially being a big bore kit, you don't want to just sit there and let that thing, it could cook your motor. You could break a spigot. A spigot is the little thing on the bottom of the cylinders where the cylinder walls are really thin. When you let your bike heat up and you're not using the proper oil, I use Redline synthetic oil in this motorcycle, and I will use Redline synthetic oil in this motorcycle. But when you're not using the proper oil and you let your bike overheat, the oil gets thin and you're not protecting the metals, and it's easy to crack something. It's good to have anything you can to protect the motorcycle's engine temperature. I got on that bike in there, I got a Thundermax oil cooler fan and an ultra cool on it, and an ultra cool oil filter, just to make sure everything stays nice and cool. I will be putting an ultra cool oil filter on this motorcycle, an ultra cool oil filter and fan on this motorcycle in addition to the Thundermax. But this one is liquid cooled, and I haven't been caught in traffic in this yet, but I'd like to see how it responds in stop and go traffic versus the oil cool Harley. I'm expecting this one to do a whole lot better since it has the wet head. Speaking of the fans, look how nice this fan shroud is right here. And then right here, that is just a little thing. It's not colored match. It's just, you can't really see it. But it doesn't look as nice as this looks. You even have a nice looking grate right there. And this one kind of where the coils of the oil cooler is exposed, and you can see that it doesn't look as nice fit and finish as this right here. Another thing while I'm down here, let's go with the engine guards. I call them crash bars. You don't supposed to call them crash bars. They're engine guards. So let's go with the engine guards right here. These are the mustache engine guards, and this bike came with the And this bike came with the full-size engine guards right here. Gonna run lowers, you're gonna need these. You can't run lowers with those. Matter of fact, I don't even know, and this is one of the things, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't even know if you can put lowers on that bike because it has the coolant reservoir on the other side. So I don't know if you could, if you wanted to even put full-size engine guards on it and then put lowers on it, I don't think you could. Now, surely somebody's gonna make it, probably even Harley will make it where you can put lowers on it. Having these full-size engine guards are nice because I got my highway pegs, got my lowers, got my speakers in there. And before I had speakers, I had storage. They're really nice. And they look nice if you like lowers, especially in the wintertime, if you're riding in the wintertime. So with the new bike, I'm not sure if you can do it. I'm sure you can get some soft lowers, but sooner or later, it's Harley. Somebody's gonna make some lowers on the bike. It's probably, somebody will probably have a link in a comment now showing some lowers on one of these bikes. Having the ability to put lowers on it, plus for the 2023, because I can put that style engine guard, I can put a full-size engine guard, I can put the new flat-out engine guard like I got on the Street Glide with just a bar. So there's so many things that you can do with this style versus that style for now, because you know it's coming, right? Okay guys, so now let's talk about motors. Well, parts of the motor. Remember I told you that this is a wet head, but look at this. This is a 117. Look at the air cleaner right here. It looks better than last year's air cleaner. It's a huge air cleaner. On last year's bike, you could see that you had the air cleaner and then you could see some wiring up underneath, or like wiring for the throttle body. It looks like everything is enclosed in this one because I don't see any wiring that's underneath like that you would see in the previous model. So it looks like everything is enclosed. And you can see that it has 117 on the sides, Milwaukee 8. But here's something I want to show you. This on the 2023 CVOs and 24 CVOs, besides the ST, this is where the variable valve timing would be, the VVT. This little piece right here sticks out. And the only complaint that I have about this is when you have your foot on here, this rubs against your shoe. And if you wear Jordans like I do, it messes up the inside of my Jordans. So it's not a big deal. I'm sure, again, somebody will make something that kind of protects your foot from rubbing up against this. I don't feel it as like when I'm riding like this is annoying or anything, but it's just when I got off the motorcycle, I noticed that like something has been rubbing my shoe right here, and it's just extra cover where the VVT is. With this bike right here, you don't have that. You see you have a lot more room. There is nothing sticking out that is rubbing your foot. Now on my other bike, my Street Glide, I actually have this little heat guard shield that protects from the footboard right here, that protects your shoe from getting burned on the pipe. I don't have it on this bike. You remember when I was talking about this? You see these wires underneath? I don't see that on that, so they must be covered. This is your throttle body wires right here. And here's a tip. Most of the time when people have a problem with their bike, when their bike's not running right, have you ever been with somebody and they've been on a ride, their motorcycle idles up real high and stays there and goes into limp mode and all that? This connector right here underneath, if you unplug it, 9 times out of 10, they got moisture in there from washing their motorcycle. Disconnect that connector, make sure it's dried out, plug it back up, it'll start and you can go on your way. This connector, I'm telling you, underneath is the source of a lot of people's throttle response problems, that one down there. So I'm glad that they look like they have it covered in that one, I guess to help it be more waterproof. You see this? These are where my right down here is where my spark plug wires are. They come back here where they connect into back there. That's where the plug wires are running. But if you look on this motorcycle, there's no plug wires back here. It looks so much cleaner. No plug wires at all back here on that wall. And the reason is the plug wires are on the other side, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. Here's a complaint that I have about the 2024 Road Glide, the seat. Now, it probably won't be your complaint. It is a beautiful seat. I love the stitching going down the middle of it. I love the texture on the side. Everything about this seat is a beautiful seat. The whole profile of the seat looks good. I'm not a guy who's gonna put a big old comfy couch on their bike. It looks, to me, I know you guys can do whatever you want. I think it looks ridiculous when I see people with these big old fluffy muffin looking seats on their motorcycles. Now I understand it may be comfortable for them, but there's seats out there that give you comfort and you still don't have that big comfy couch look on your bike. That's one of the things that I think can make a motorcycle look really terrible, is by having one of those big old muffin top seats. I hate those seats, right? But this seat is a good looking seat, great looking profile. You have lines, you can really affect the look of your motorcycle with having an ugly seat. This is a good looking seat, but the problem with this seat is, and I'll show you, this is the problem with this seat. I'm sitting too far up on the tank. I am on the tank. My knees are passing the badges that says Harley-Davidson on this thing. I am too far up on this tank. That's the problem that I have with this seat. And here's the thing. Right now, there's no solution that I have for this motorcycle. Now, Harley-Davidson makes a tall boy seat. I don't like the way it looks. I like the way the seats that they have a seat called, I don't know, they got some seats that look more like that on their website that I would absolutely change in a heartbeat for this seat, because I like the look of those, but they don't make them in a tall seat. And at the moment, the seat that I'm rocking on that bike, the LaPera Daddy Long Legs Kickflip, LaPera doesn't make a seat for this bike, because I'm getting ahead of myself. The seats on the 2024, the seats on the 2023s will not fit on the 2024. So that's why I can't wait for LaPera to come out with their new seat for this motorcycle. I want that seat on this motorcycle so I can be more comfortable and I'm not up here on the tank like this. Now, you might not be as picky as I am about seats, so there might be another brand that you like, or you might like the seat that Harley-Davidson has to offer. But if you look on their website, they have a seat that looks very similar to that, but it's still, they don't give you a tall option. The tall people that work for Harley-Davidson, so we got to look out for one another. I need a seat that looks good and is going to push me back at least 2 inches to make it more comfortable on this motorcycle. The bars are miles ahead of the bars that came on that motorcycle standard. Having these bars up like this and having the ability to adjust these bars so easily is a game changer. Now, I'd like to have them up a little bit more. I'd like to be about right here on the bars. And what I was told from the tech at the Harley-Davidson dealership, that there is a little tab that won't allow you to roll them up. But so far, he said he had them rolled up as far as they would go. I have to see for myself. I'm gonna have to take these 4 clamps off of this little dog bone thing and see about rolling these bars up a little bit further. Because if these bars don't roll up further, then yes, I'm gonna have to go to KST and tell them, guys, I need some bars just like this, same look and everything, but just maybe 2 inches taller. Maybe not. This is almost perfect. I just need these bars right here. Now, another thing that you notice that I haven't done yet, because I haven't changed anything on this motorcycle, left it completely stock. See these mirrors right here? They're down. See that? The mirrors are down. I always flip the mirrors upside down. On all my motorcycles, the mirrors are not up here. They're always underneath here, except on the Street Glide, and there I have drop down mirror brackets on it. So I will be taking these mirrors and doing the same thing, putting them on the bottom side of this, because I don't like the way mirrors look on top of the thing. And I like the way it looks like that. So I'm gonna be changing these mirrors and putting them down underneath. This motorcycle right here has a Clockworks windshield. It's the shortest windshield that Clockworks makes. It's not even tinted, it's black. You can't see through it. I love this look. I rode this bike across country with this windshield on it. People always ask me, don't you need a taller windshield to do that? It flips up, and the wind doesn't bother me as much as I guess it bothers some people. I ride a motorcycle because I like the wind. People say wind therapy, but they put a windshield bigger than a car. I don't understand that. I like this windshield. I like it. It's short, it's sleek looking, it makes the bike look aggressive. Great looking windshield. One of the first things I like to do when I get a new Harley is to change the windshield. Well, Harley kind of spoiled it for me with this one, because now, what am I supposed to do with this? This windshield is black, it's short, and unless Clockworks makes a shorter one, I'm not changing this windshield out. I love the way this windshield looks. It looks extremely aggressive, and usually I look forward to being able to change out the windshield, but now I don't. It's black, it matches the bike, it's short, and it does everything that this one does, and it looks good. Yeah, if they made one a little bit shorter, yeah, I would get one a little bit shorter. And if it was all blacked out, because Technically, yeah, you can see through this one. It's a tinted shade. That one you can't see through, but I like the way it looks. So it's not the first thing on my list that I'm going to be changing. Only if Clockworks makes a shorter windshield will I change it to a shorter windshield. Other than that, I'm going to leave this windshield just like this. So the side cover, check this out. You have a big side cover right here. Big old side cover. This one right here, side cover is not like that. I've never even taken the side cover off. Matter of fact, I don't even know where my trickle charger is. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, my charger connector. They usually put it under there. But right here is the side cover, and you can see there's a little bit of frame exposed right there, but look how nice and clean that is compared to how the frame is exposed right here going down. It's just the fit and finish of it. It's just so much cleaner on the thing. The whole theme of the 2024 is just everything, the fit and finish is just so much cleaner. This bike, they put more thought into the lines, the aesthetics of the motorcycle. They just put a whole lot of thought into it. I love this motorcycle. It's debatable if you like the body, if you like the way it looks, because I do. I like the way this looks, and I like the way this looks. But to be honest with you, this is what I'm used to, and this bike still turns my head. I love looking at this motorcycle. I love riding this motorcycle, and I show a little bit more favor towards this motorcycle right now because it has all my touches on it, but I can't wait to get into this bike and put all my touches on this one and make it my own as well. But just looking at a closer look, everything is cleaner. They just took more care to make the lines clean. It looked like they put more thought into the design of this bike. Saddlebags. These are the standard size saddlebags. Now, about 6 months ago, I had the stretch saddlebags on there. The ones that went down, that went below the pipe, that had the cutout. Well, I recently went back with the standard size saddlebags because of lately I like the standard saddlebags. I like the look of the standard saddlebags versus the stretch saddlebags. And I know a lot of people still like stretch saddlebags. If you would ask me a year ago, I would have said that I wanted the stretch saddlebags. I prefer the stretch saddlebags over the standard. But, you know, like things run their course. Some things go in style and out of style. I'm not saying that they're out of style for everybody, but for me, I think that the stretch saddlebags look a little dated on the bike, and it was just time to change it up, especially if you got some wheels on the back. Like this bike has some chrome wheels on it, some chrome rotors. I like showing off the wheel and the rotor, so I like the short bags on it. And if you notice the trend that's been going around lately, most people are putting short bags on their bike versus the long bags. Now, with the new motorcycle, you have the short bags. Now these short bags are different. They're short bags, but they bow out on the side. And to be honest, that is what, when I first saw the bike, I didn't like about the motorcycle. I didn't like the bags on it. And now I actually like the bags. I think they look good. They bow out on the side, they cut off in the back and cut back under. I like that look. That's a look that Harley has. I think that was inspired from the whole performance bagger craze where people were riding wheelies and stuff like that because you see the back of it's chopped off. I like this look now. I prefer this look. And with more and more people doing 2-in-1 exhausts, and they would have the 2-in-1 exhaust with the dummy pipe, which I'm not a fan of dummy pipes at all. But again, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But with the dummy pipe being on it, they could balance, you know, because they didn't want to have one exhaust coming out one side and one bag not having any exhaust, and it looked kind of weird. And I understood that's why they put the dummy pipe. But with more and more people getting 2-in-1 exhaust, the short bags look really cool. And then on the other side, you have the pulley side, so you can put a chrome pulley on there, or if, like my bike in the garage, the Street Glide, I got a chain drive on it, and I like looking at the chain drive with the sprocket, and that looks really cool. It just shows off more of the back of the bike. Now with this bike, I have stretch saddlebags that I change when I'm touring long distance because it has more room. But Harley-Davidson said, and I haven't tried it yet, but they said that these saddlebags has just as much, no, they said more room than the stretch saddlebags. The stretch saddlebags, they came on specials and of last year. So if you got a special last year, you had stretch saddle bags. They wasn't on the STs, and a lot of people were kind of going with that whole ST style. So that's why I think Harley just went with these types of saddlebags. On a side note, old saddlebags will fit on a new bike. I don't think it'll look good, but it'll fit. So if you want to stretch saddlebags on a new bike, put them on there. And speaking of bags, let's talk about this. Look at this, black bike, black motor, black mirrors, black everything. What's this? What is this? Why is this not black? I'm gonna fix it, but why is this not black? This should be black, right here. If the bike is black, this should be black. Thank God that it has black latches, because on this bike, it has chrome latches. On my other bike, it came with color match, and that was a standard back in 19. It came with colored match latches, which I thought was cool. But then the year afterwards, they started putting chrome latches on everything. I would like to have black latches on that bike, and I'm glad that this bike has black latches or whatever, hinges, I should say. But this needs to be black, and I'll be changing that out. I love this badge. That Harley-Davidson badge is so cool. They chose a really cool looking font. But I also love this badge because it has a diamond back there, and it just has some little etching and shines in the sun. It's just very retro with like a little Harley-Davidson diamond. I love this. I love this badge too, so I like that equally. The big old chrome dome gas cover. I like it. Reason why I like it, because you have this chrome accent right here, nice shiny dome right there, has a Road Glide right there. Now this, on the other hand, the new 2024 doesn't have the dome. I like the trim, the center console, the dash, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call this thing. The center console, the dash, I like all this stuff right here. I prefer the way the dome looks on that one better. Now, if you look at this one here at the top, it's black. It's kind of flat black. It's not as shiny black as it is on this center console or dash, whatever you call it. I wish that this was painted shiny black. But the benefit of this one over that one is this. No more holding your gas cap in your hand. No more trying to figure out what to do with the gas cap. No more leaving the gas cap on top of the pump, filling it up with gas and riding down the road just to have all the gas roll into your lap as you take off. This fixes that. So it's very nice looking. I prefer that more, but this looks good and it functions a whole lot better. Let's talk about the exhaust real fast. This bike has the Harley-Davidson exhaust, 2 and the 1 and the 2, I guess, exhaust. And this bike has the 2 and the 1 and the 2 exhaust. Does it sound good? It does not sound like a Harley. You will hear everybody say they don't sound like Harleys. And the reason why, because when you get a Harley, you change the exhaust and then they sound more like that than like this. But if you put it in sport mode, it sounds better. It has a different tone to the exhaust. It sounds better. I'm not gonna say it sounds good. It sounds okay when you put it in the sport mode. But no, it does not sound like a classic Harley-Davidson that you're used to hearing. So there's exhaust for these bikes for slip-ons. One guy that I saw who had a full exhaust system on his motorcycle, and there will be another full exhaust system coming out for bikes like this, and I'm going to be highlighting that in an upcoming video. Market World hasn't released a whole bunch of stuff, exhaust for these bikes yet, but Screaming Eagle has some slip-ons and they sound pretty good. They do. They give it a little deep sound, and they also have that nice decel pop that I like when you roll off the throttle when it's in sport mode. And they're carbon fiber. If I'm staying closer to stock and not really trying to avoid the warranty, I definitely put a set of them on my motorcycle. All right, so let's take a quick look at the back of both of these motorcycles. They're just totally different on the back. And the first thing you notice right here, you'll see that this one has this light that illuminates the license plate right here. It's a little big. It's a little big. Doesn't look bad though. Looks pretty good. You know, I'm sure somebody will make something that will eliminate this whole thing in the future. I'm sure they will. But then you have the brake lights right here with the turn signals integrated, which are really nice looking. And then on this bike here, you have the dog bone with the bullet lights and the license plate that goes underneath and the tri-bar. Somebody will make something aftermarket to make this a lot smaller and put the license plate, lay down license plate, to really make the back end look a lot cleaner. Got a place for a 4-point docking station here. I got my 4-point docking station here. When I get one, I'm gonna have a black one. So the black one will be coming soon because I have my tour pack. And by the way, the same tour pack that went on this one will go perfectly on that. And the lines really match up. I'm gonna briefly talk about this, which I feel like everybody's kind of went over. What you have right here, you have your speedometer, you have your tachometer, you have your battery voltage, you have your fuel right here, then you have your navigation. You had to look in 4 different locations. Now, when the guys upgrade their motorcycles and they put T-bars on it, this needs to be relocated. When they relocate it, sometimes it's right smack dab in the middle of the navigation screen, and that's no good. So I like the location of the new one on the new motorcycle. These gauges, they're classy, they're classic looking. I like the gauges. A lot of people would change them out and put Dakota digital gauges. I was this close to putting some Dakota digital gauges in this, but I like the way these gauges look. They even make a company that has these gauges and have them backlit in different colors to point out while we're still on this bike. The interfering, all of this used to be flat black. All of this has been painted. The fairing exchange. So all this now is shiny black. So, and then the Hertz, you see the Hertz grill's been changed out. My Volunteer audio, because it has Hertz audio all in this motorcycle here. So that is all of that, how shiny and how clean it looks. Now this, on the other hand, look at this. First thing you notice, there is no gauge right here. You don't have the speedometer or the fuel gauge, any of that right here. And it is so easy to get to the handlebars now that you can adjust the handlebars, you can change out the bars. It makes it really easy to do that. I love the way the gauges look on that bike, but look at this. Look how it is from corner to corner. You see all of it, just everything you need just right here. You know what I mean? You got your voltage, you got your tire pressure gauge, you have your odometer, you have your speedometer, you have your tach, you have your fuel gauge, you have what mode it's in, traction control. Everything you need is right here. Do I like those other gauges? Yeah, I like those other gauges, but I do like this better. I think it looks great because you have all your information in line right there. And if you want to change it, you can change it to what's important to you. There's a performance thing where you can just see like RPMs and the speed, you know, and lose the rest of this stuff. These speakers on the new Road Glide are firing at you straighter than they was on the older Road Glide. So I like that these speakers are firing at you this way. This whole thing is a grill, so that's going to be interesting to see what the aftermarket does with this. If they just keep this and use this grill right here and just replace the speakers. This is flat black. Now I've heard people complaining saying that you cannot, let me turn this off. With that being shiny, it has a reflection. I'm referring to over there on the Road Glide. It has a reflection that really messes with your eyes, and this being flat, it's better for you. I prefer if it was shiny on a special in times past. That was the difference. You would get the interfering would be painted, and this is not painted. It looks good because it's a black bike, but could you imagine how good it would look if you had a colored match bike, if your bike was, you know, gray and the inside was painted the same color? So I would say, I know that they're working on it. I'm sure Fairing Exchange is already working on changing this out, having a colored match option where you can change all of this out right here. But having this, if you want to put T-bars on it, you can put T-bars on it, and it's not interfering with your gauges. You don't have to move any gauges. So that is a win-win. So Harley, once again, the things that most people change on their bike, they took the time, they paid attention, and they made it easier. In some cases, I hate to say this, they might have canceled some aftermarket companies because on the new bikes, you don't really need some of the things that you needed on the older bikes. You had the switch over there. I'm not going back over there. Everybody knows what that switch used to look like. You had the switch right there where you turn the bike on and off. Now you have no switch. This is just locking your forks right here. This locks your forks. Let's concentrate on the left-hand control right here. Cruise control has been moved up here. You have your traction control now. The way the turn signals feel is different. They're a little bit lower. I've found myself actually hitting up here because I'm so used to the turn signals. The turn signals used to be up here instead of down here now. The horn is right here. But let me show you something I really like. I don't think Harley could have did a better job on these grips. The old grips, again, the things that I used to love to change when I bought a new bike. I always upgraded to the Avon grips. These grips are so doggone good, it's just hard to change them. Now, they look like they might wear out quickly, but the feel of these grips are fantastic. They remind you of riding, and this is a good thing, of riding a dirt bike or riding a BMX bike when I was a kid or whatever. They feel good. These grips are fantastic. I love the way these grips feel, and if I change them out, I don't think I'm going to change them out. There's nothing to change them out to. The way they feel is perfect, so I'm just going to leave them alone. Now, this side right here, you have your caution up here, you have your stop, you have your switch on, you have your start button, you have your push to talk, your volume right there, all your radio controls, your mute button, your phone button, your modes right there, and again, the turn signals are down here. And I'm not going to go back and do it on the other bike. I think that everybody's kind of familiar with what it looks like on the 23, because they've been doing that since about 2014. Has the same look on that bike as it does on the 23. Okay, so now as we get to the end of this video, let's talk about something on this side here. This horn has been that way, I don't know, a very, very long time on Harley-Davidson touring bikes. But on this motorcycle right here, you see where the horn bell is actually where the spark plugs plug into. You don't have a horn bell right here. This is the horn now. All right, guys, now as we approach the end, let's talk about one last thing, and then I want to give you my final word about this bike versus that bike, the 23 versus the 24. Right here, the coolant reservoir. No coolant reservoir right there. Even when you had the bikes that were liquid-cooled wet head bikes, they had lowers on it and they had the coolant reservoir looked a lot different. This one's more streamlined. It sits just right on the frame. When I first saw it, I was like, what is that? You can probably go back to a video and see when I actually said that when I first saw it. I was like, what is that? Because it just shocked me. I wasn't expecting to see that. And I thought that it would actually bother me. I was like, nah, that's just sitting there. It doesn't flow with the bike. Now it just blends into the motorcycle. I don't even see it anymore. But one of the things that I noticed the other day, I can't see my VIN number on the frame rail. I'm not gonna take it out. That actually comes out, and then you can see your VIN number right there. Don't matter to me. It's not like I go around looking at my VIN number anyway. If the trade-off is keeping my motorcycle cool by having this on there, I'll take that any day. Another thing I just noticed, I'm not gonna move the camera, but the axle, the front axles, they are actually, the front forks where the axle goes through is actually different than on that bike. It's cleaned up a lot nicer, a lot cleaner than on that motorcycle. All right, guys, so before I'm gonna end this video, I'm gonna give you my honest opinion of what I think about both of these motorcycles, my final word on both of these motorcycles. Now, I haven't had this a long time. I haven't put a lot of miles on it. I put a whole lot of miles on this bike. So I'm gonna give you my opinion why you should buy the 23, and I'm gonna give you my opinion why you should buy the 24. And then I'm gonna give you my opinion which one, for me, is the best one overall. All right, so reasons to buy the 23. The 23s are closeout models. There's a redesign for 24, so you should be able to get a very good deal at your dealership, and the bikes are fantastic bikes. That's one reason. The other reason is if you want to do some aftermarket upgrades to your motorcycle right now, go with the 23. There is so many things and companies that make parts for these bikes that they've been generally making Rushmore style street glides and road glides. Well, road glide came out in 15, Rushmore style, but street glides from 14 on up to 23. So there's so many parts for these bikes, and at this point, everybody, all the manufacturers are kind of retooling and getting ready for these 24s. So there might even be a sale on some of the older parts on these bikes. And if you want to put a big bore kit in it, you want to do performance stuff and do it now, this is the way that you want to go, because there's a whole lot of companies making great stuff for these motorcycles right now. Now, 24. If you want the latest, greatest, and the best that Harley-Davidson has made to date, you want to go with the 24. And what I mean by that, you heard me say aesthetically, The bike is aesthetically pleasing. The little small things that got overlooked on these bikes, they really paid attention to this motorcycle. I mean, people are looking at the big things like the LED lights and you know, the liquid cooling and all of that, but they're not looking at the fit and finish, the small things that Harley has did on this motorcycle, you know, that I just noticed. Like I said a second ago, the way the axle, the way the forks come down now, and how the axle goes through, just small things that they changed. They really took the care to make this bike a beautiful bike from the ground up. They really put a lot of care and time in this bike. And let's not even begin with the technology. Being able to have all your gauges right on one screen, kind of like what car manufacturers are doing in cars nowadays. This is the future. This is what people are doing. The 117 being liquid cooled versus oil cooled, the liquid cooled 117, and not to mention how great it rides. It rides a lot better than the standard suspension on this bike. They paid a lot of attention to it. They put a lot of care in making this bike. They gave you the technology, they gave you the LED lights, they gave you the motor that performs and runs well. A lot of things that I said I would change, I can't even change anymore because there's no need to change them now, you know, because they listened and changed them and made this motorcycle into what we were already making our motorcycles into. Now, you know, we're gonna go a step further and make it in our own. They didn't make it so, they didn't change it so much that you can't make it your own. They did take a lot of things that we did on these bikes and just, it comes standard on this motorcycle. So that's why I like this bike. I think it's a good bike. And for those reasons, that's why I think that you should buy a 2024, because this is the future. It runs so much better with the new liquid cooling and with the ride modes that really work. They're not gimmicky, they actually work. And the new bar setup, the integrated turn signals, the LED lights, it's a great motorcycle. And the good thing about it is the aftermarket is working right now. And when the aftermarket gets to the point where they're caught up to the point where they have everything for this motorcycle as they have for that motorcycle, it's definitely going to be a no-brainer. But if you're a person who wants to do all this now, go with the 23. If you're a person that wants to ride a fantastic motorcycle and you can wait for the aftermarket to catch up, go with the 24. All right? Now you might be wondering and asking yourself, why do I still have this 23 motorcycle? Well, now, but just make sure you stay tuned. Guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. And if you would, comment below, let me know where you're from, where you're watching from, what you ride, and if you prefer the 23 or the 24. Again, guys, this bike will be changing into, I'm gonna be making this bike into my own. And it's gonna look very, well, it's gonna be kind of like that bike. Well, not really like that bike. I'm gonna go a different direction now with this motorcycle, but I'm gonna be making this motorcycle my own, and you can see, you can follow the journey along on the channel. So guys, again, I wanna thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more like it, please subscribe. Don't forget to comment below. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Keep gliding, and as always, have a blessed day.